So Christian Eriksen is a Manchester United player. Am I happy about it? Absolutely.
Obviously, through this transfer window, there's been a lot of big moves already, and a lot of them are very fueled by narrative, and we will pay particular interest in the ones that have the best story behind them. None of them have as good a story as that of Christian Eriksen to Manchester United.
He's just a phenomenal player. Such creativity in the final third. Such a footballing brain as well. Erik Ten Hag seems to be trying to find players with like a football intellect, doesn't he? And he definitely fits that mould.
I understand that Man United may be a bit of an internet laughing stock at the moment, and probably on the pitch too in many ways. And they're obviously in a big transition trying to rebuild their status as a domestic force. But globally, they are still a huge football club. And if you look at where Christian Eriksen has come from with that horrible incident that we saw at the Euros, the fact that he has been able to bring his career back to this level is just phenomenal.
It seems like a good fit. United are a club trying to get back to the summit. Christian Eriksen is a player who's trying to recapture his best form, to give himself a final shot of some kind of footballing glory before he retires, although he isn't that old, is he? I keep having to remind myself of that.
When football is moving into such a weird space where we have a World Cup in Qatar, odd governing bodies in place to buy clubs and run clubs, and so much to deal with as fans, the Super League, it's quite a disgusting thing at times that we can all become a bit disillusioned with. So seeing Christian Eriksen's story is just a wonderful way of bringing us back to football and appreciating it for what it is.
To be even in contention to play in the Premier League was nothing short of a miracle. But to then produce the kind of performances he did on his return with Brentford, that was stunning.
We obviously saw him absolutely flourish at Tottenham in the Premier League, move on to Inter Milan, have success there, even if it took him a bit of time to get his feet in Serie A. And then at Brentford last season, in 11 games that he played for them, he was just phenomenal. I think only De Bruyne was more creative than him in terms of his assists or chances created per 90 minutes. At a club like Brentford, he completely saved their season, really, as it looked like they might start to fall away. So a bigger club coming knocking makes a lot of sense.
So now he's got a chance at trying to get back to the summit of English football, European football maybe. Or is that too ambitious of me as a United fan?
Whether Manchester United is the one that makes sense is a different question. There seem to be more obvious options. Obviously, staying at Brentford would have been fantastic and just as much of a fairy tale in some ways, but more so for the club than the footballer himself. Tottenham seemed like an obvious destination for him. They have very defensive midfielders, lack a bit of creativity in the middle. He's been there before, so he's very comfortable, would have been able to live in London and would have worked under Antonio Conte again, who eventually he did really win over at Inter Milan. So that seemed like the most obvious destination.
Is it the right move for Christian Eriksen? Yeah, I think it is actually. I think he needs to try and get his level of game back to how it used to be when he was at Spurs. I think physically now he's had a good season in the Premier League. He feels like he can achieve that again. That's a major mental hurdle that he's overcome being at Brentford. So yeah, United are a team looking to kind of recapture their former glory, if you like, as well. So I think the two could support each other in achieving that aim. Probably not instantly, but I think with a manager like Ten Hag and a player who fits that philosophy and a club also that matches his ambition to kind of get some kind of reputational improvement again, it seems like a good match. It really does.
There are a few reasons why Eriksen to Manchester United really makes sense. First of all, he's definitely an upgrade on what they already have in their squad. Although we imagine him as a number 10, and that is his most predominant position, and they obviously already have Bruno Fernandes in that position, he also can operate in a few areas, really, where United really needs strength. United's centre midfield has been up for debate for a really long time, it feels, and they're still lining up with Fred and McTominay. Now, undoubtedly, if you play Christian Eriksen as a number 8, he is an upgrade on both of those players and is able to operate in a deeper space, looking to be more progressive. And that's something Man United really lacked towards the back end of last season. They really lacked being able to move the ball forward when they needed to. They could hold on to possession, something that Eriksen is very well equipped to do, but really struggled to find those channels and create chances. And Eriksen is a really good player for that because his passing range is so outstanding.
Where's he going to fit into this United team? That's the question. Could he play really centrally into that United midfield? Yeah, I think so. He could pull the strings quite nicely for everything going on around him. Erik Ten Hag has already said that he needs to have competence down the left, down the right, and also through the centre. And I think that's where Christian Eriksen kind of comes in. I think he gives that 360 vision in the final third. And the closest player we've got to that really at the moment is Bruno Fernandes. But they're two very different players. Bruno Fernandes will look for the Hollywood ball out of nowhere, and it won't land most of the time. And it just looks really frustrating from a United point of view that he's wasting possession. Christian Eriksen's a bit more measured than that. I think he really looks for the right pass at the right time, and he won't rush into making a footballing decision in that final third. Now, United, for all their attacking talent, have struggled to break down really stubborn teams with a low block, those that really resist interplay and passing triangles in the final third. They're the ones that United have really struggled to break down the most, I would say. And I think that's where his kind of creativity would be perfect for United.
So he could play in place of Bruno Fernandes, who has played an incredible amount of games since signing for Manchester United. It will be a very long season next year, and they will need to rotate the squad. And he definitely adds quality to that squad. If you think they've lost Juan Mata and Jesse Lingard, they're kind of backup number 10s. Eriksen can be that backup too, which is really encouraging. They also now have 5 subs in the league. So having quality off the bench and someone who can change a game is really important. I remember towards the back end of his Tottenham career, the last season he was there, Villa played Tottenham on the opening day of the season and were dominating the game. They were 1-0 up, really controlling the game. And at that point, Eriksen was kind of hinting that he wanted to leave, so wasn't starting games for Spurs. They realised quickly they needed him, brought him on in about the 70th minute, and he completely turned the game around and Spurs won. And he still has that ability because he's so decisive with his passing and his chance creation. He's a wonderful asset off the bench in that number 10 role if necessary.
Even if he doesn't start, what a player to bring off the bench. The bench will be one of the most important assets to the top 6 teams this season, I think. Whoever they can bring into a game at the right moment to try and change the game, especially players with some kind of creativity, they're the ones that will make or break a team's success in the top 6 this season. Christian Eriksen fits that profile.
He's not the defensive midfielder that Manchester United need. He's not someone who's going to break up opponents' play and win the ball back. But if they do bring in Lisandro Martinez, who could operate in that space, he might be a good partner for him. So he might be Man United's new number 8. And if so, that offers him a lot of space. If you think that Bruno Fernandes occupies that number 10 role, that's where defenders are drawn to and they will focus on Fernandes. That leads to a deeper playmaker in Eriksen being able to convert chances from there. And if you think about the fact that Ronaldo may still be there and very much likes to operate in the box, what better provider from deep is there than Christian Eriksen?
I think we'll see a lot of players in United's front line emerging this season because of the way Erik Ten Hag likes to set up. Jadon Sancho will probably be the biggest beneficiary for me from Christian Eriksen's presence, purely because I think he will make the runs that Christian Eriksen likes to provide a pass for. I think the two will complement each other really well. So Jadon Sancho, maybe even Marcus Rashford down the left will be the biggest beneficiaries of Christian Eriksen, laying off balls left, right and centre and providing that sort of 360 attack that Erik Ten Hag loves.
And if you look at Eriksen, the majority of his play is made from that left-hand attacking position. So if Rashford cuts inside, there's a really obvious gap for Eriksen to fill in there. And I think that could be really key to Man United's attacking play next year. And also, when you have the pace of Rashford and Sancho on the wings, someone deeper that can launch a counter-attack could be fantastic. I really think this is the season that Jadon Sancho really announces himself in the Premier League, and I think he could have a real breakthrough year. And having someone as creative as Eriksen behind him to help find those runs and to move with him too will be vital to that. It's undoubtable that when Sancho is progressing, having Fred and McTominay supporting from midfield is not strong enough in an attacking sense, but Eriksen is. I think it shows a lot of the intent of Ten Hag to play more attacking football, that he's even identified a very attacking centre midfielder to play. So whether he plays in place of Bruno Fernandes as they rotate through competitions, or whether he plays alongside him as one drifts right, probably Fernandes, and Eriksen drifts left as number 10s, that would be very attacking too. But we did see it Inter Milan that Eriksen was slightly deeper and even sometimes would play as a number 6. I don't think he'll play that role for Manchester United, if I'm totally honest, but I can see him being as a centre midfielder too. And that'll be really interesting for us to watch in the Premier League, definitely.
I'm excited. As a Manchester United fan, I'm really thrilled. I think most United fans will admit to having a deep level of respect for Christian Eriksen, even before the Euros last year and all the horrific drama that went with that, because although he's got a huge amount of goodwill for what he's overcome and what he's been through, in the Premier League, his stats stack up amongst the best for assists, for goal chances creation. I think that's the memory that most United fans have of him. And I would welcome him into our team with open arms. I'm still finding it a bit bizarre that he's part of a Manchester United team now going forward. I feel really fortunate that he is, because he's a brilliant player. I just hope we see something like his best again, or something like the form he produced at Brentford last season, because that could make a real difference for United. From the United of last season compared to now, that could be the difference between a tough 1-1 draw at Fulham, potentially, and smashing them 5-0. That really could be how big a difference Christian Eriksen makes to just chance creation in the final third.
More than anything, it's just amazing that Eriksen will line up at Old Trafford in the United shirt. And what a story that is for him. United have been looking at him for years, it feels like. So for this to happen at this stage in his career, after everything he's been through, feels like he's really earned it. Let's be honest, as a neutral, as much as we may like to mock Man United every now and again, we have nothing but love and appreciation for Christian Eriksen. And this is a fantastic opportunity for him to really help turn this Man United around. So I think it's a really interesting signing. I hope it works out for him. I have nothing but love for Christian Eriksen. So yeah, great deal if you ask me.